What's good, party people? This is Woods and Wade episode. Oh, the Woods and Wade podcast, episode 4, right? Theoretically speaking,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we're talking about diseases. I'm according to Woods, and she is Claudia Wade. And the reason why we came up with this particular subject is something befell you.
Yeah.
The, uh, so, when did it happen? What's going on? Let the people know what's going on.
So I'm actually a really good cook. Just let's just start there.
Okay.
But I made some food on Saturday or Sunday. No, Sunday night. And it just didn't taste good to me. It tastes good to everyone, but I was like, this is weird. So I said, no one's complaining, no one said anything about it. It should be fine. Monday morning, my stomach started hurting. I was like, oh no, this is all bad. So I've been sick since Monday morning ish. And I haven't been able to eat anything until today. I ate something. I ate like broths and stuff like that, but I couldn't eat anything else. So the only thing I can eat is quesadillas. So that's what we're eating today. Quesadillas because I had the bubblies all week
Wow. Are
till
you
now.
saying we're? So, did you refer to yourself in the third person, or is
No,
that the what is it? Your gender identification? Should we?
no,
Are
no.
you they there?
I know I'm a she.
Okay.
Her,
Right on.
it. Oh no, not an it. Her.
Okay. Cool. McMac says, "Baby, hold the line. Love isn't always on time." Oh, whoa, whoa. That's Toto, if you don't know. And I
Yes.
think, Weezer, for their first hit song in their illustrious, like, damn near 30-year career, their first hit single wasn't Buddy
Hmm.
Holly, it wasn't Beverly Hills. It was a cover of Toto's Africa.
That made him even more money.
Right. But theoretically speaking, Hold the Line to me is a much better song. So,
I
motherfuckers out
think any
there.
song than Toto is a good song.
Oh yeah, 100%. There, I was listening to Georgie Porgy, and
Uh-huh.
it's funny because like when you think in the wrestling context, right? Ric Flair used to say in his promo, "Oh, Nature Boy, kiss the girls, make them cry," which
I hate
Jay
him.
Lethal when he became the parody, that goes around the internet every couple of years when they were both in TNA and there was like the woo off and everything like that. Well, that comes whether people know it or not. When Flair was doing those promos back in the 80s, uh, at Center Stage Studio in Atlanta, Georgie Porgy by Toto was a hit song.
Hmm.
So lest we
Like,
forget. I'm just saying. So shout out to Toto.
who sings that cover of Begging?
Begging? It's a
She made
song
a
called
song
Begging.
begging, begging. Is she begging you? Is that what it's called?
I
Okay.
fucking
Yeah.
don't know. We probably have to put that in the Google machine.
I
Uh
hate.
McMac
I
says
hate.
Rosanna is better. Okay. So he's actually listing it here. So he says Rosanna's better than Hold the Line. Africa's third. And in particular order, Hold the Line, Rosanna, and then Africa,
Africa.
which actually he says Afria. So I don't know if it's cold in Australia because Afria in Espanol, like frio, fria, right? Theoretically speaking,
I don't
it's
think a
cold.
fria is a Spanish word.
Right, exactly. So I want to believe that Micmac in the Down Under um, basically speaks the Spanish, you know? So, and sorry, have chocolate on phoned.
So he meant to put Africa.
Okay, cool. I mean,
I mean, he had a fat finger,
I
chocolatey
guess.
finger.
I mean, is he alluding to Africa being chocolate? I mean, I don't know. There's a lot to unpack there, uh, but we're talking about diseases to lighten the mood, right? And it's funny because You yourself have a bit of food poisoning for some crazy
Some
reason,
reason.
right?
Which, by the way, everyone ate exactly the same thing, and I'm the only one that's sick.
So
So,
crazy enough, I was talking to Bink Fem Vader, Aisha Raymond, over in Japan, and she's
mhm.
battling a bout of botulism, which I didn't even fucking know still existed.
What the hell is that?
It's when you eat fucked up ass meat,
Oh, oh.
right?
And you
Like
do that on purpose?
no, she didn't know that it was,
Oh, okay.
or
That it
you
was
know,
jacked
sometimes
up.
it just doesn't agree with your biochemistry, or I don't
Yeah,
know. But botulism is what's kind of befallen, and she's over in Japan. So it's one thing to have it in your own home and you got all your amenities and what have you, and then
yeah. I have
y- but then
my good old
oh,
Milo.
Modium AD, hey, there
Yeah.
you go.
Oh yeah.
But then imagine being you know like Jamaican descent, brought up in London, living in Scotland, but touring Japan extensively for a year, and then you get botulism. And not saying that it came from Japan, it's just that's the deal, So,
It could also be all that traveling too. Like your
well, I mean,
body
she
is
didn't do it all at once. I mean,
constantly
she,
trying to adjust to something new,
I mean, I don't think she did it all
right?
at once. She's been in Japan for I want to say 4 or 5 months.
Mhm.
She was living in Scotland for at least like 3 to 5 years after she was in the WWE Mae Young Classic, and then she was born in London, so that's her
Mhm.
makeup. But I mean, that's I'm not as internationally flavored, but like I went from San Francisco to Fiji, back to the Bay Area and like Marin County, then to Indiana, Las Vegas, New Mexico, Georgia, and then Inglewood.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm not as internationally flavored. But back to the topic at hand. It's just weird how things hit. And much like how you were saying, like everybody ate whatever, right? And but you ended up getting sick. That kind of reminds me of my dad. My dad, who was on a strict, like he was a diabetic, he had heart problems and what have you.
Mhm.
Um, and I think he had 2 heart attacks before I was even out of grade school, right? And out of nowhere, I mean, it's not out of nowhere because if anybody who knew my dad, he liked exotic things, even if it meant his health will be on the decline, right? He'll eat a
Right.
chocolate bar or whatever, right? But he requested my wife make him chow fun, right? Right? The dish, the noodle dish.
Mhm.
Everybody who ate it, like I ended up getting like allergic reaction. My face bubbled up like the Elephant Man and everything like that. It's everybody who ate it. My sister, my wife, the kids didn't really eat it as much, and they were kind of smaller then. Uh, but what ended up happening is the only one that was unscathed was my dad,
Mhm.
but he would pass away 4 days later.
Wow.
But I mean, of a massive heart attack. I'm not saying that
Right.
my wife's child fund that he requested was the one that might made him meet his maker, but it's kind of like I don't know if you know News Radio, right? The show with
Mhm.
back in the day, it had Rogan and Andy Dick and Phil Hartman. Well,
Mhm.
they one I think it was Phil Hartman's last episode before he ends up getting killed by his wife. They did a Titanic spoof episode,
Uh huh.
and Phil Hartman's character Phil McNeil was the only one who survived, but he died in real life. So I don't know if it's an omen or what have you, but
I don't know all that stuff, too. It's like you don't think about it until it happens, right? Like my mom passed away last year,
right,
and certain things that were kind of like adding up, like people that we were talking to were telling us different things, like, oh, Your mom found this picture of us and she sent it to me. Or I saw your mom this weekend and she gave me the biggest hug. Like, she's never given me a hug that big. Or like just certain things that were going on that kind of made me at peace to think, okay, this was it. Like, it was her time, right? And it was like, not that we wanted it to be, but we kind of had to accept it. Like, it was her time. It kind of felt like the way everything was kind of adding up, the way things kind of ended up adding up was like, okay, I see it now, which is crazy because you don't see those things until later on, right? Like, you
Ye-
wish you could see them and be like, no, wait, I can probably prevent this. Hold on. Don't go just yet, right? Like, so, but it was like crazy. Like, all these little things that her friends were like, oh, this happened. And then this happened. And I was like, got it.
yeah, it's wild. I've actually been looking at particular things in terms of, like what happens when you die. I've gotten over the last couple of years, kind of it's overtaken like my I know like mortality, like, and especially like the last several years, like even doing this, like this is what I've always wanted to do. I wanted to
Hmm.
broadcast of some sort and whatever. And a
Hmm.
lot of people that I've wanted to meet or interview or, whatever, hang out with, like
Hmm.
it's all kind of come into fruition that if anything happened to me, like I'm good. Now, do I want to like grow older with my wife, right? I want to go on vacations. Do I want to see my kids grow? Hell yes. But
Hmm.
also, like, if whatever, I'm already a grandfather, so like I'm trying to fucking get it all in there, like
Right.
like a fucking luchador. Get your shit in, kid.
Just get it. Just
Get it in.
get it
Speak,
all.
yeah. Speaking of getting it in, hi Claudia. Who do you think is going to
Hello.
wrestle the tribal chief at WrestleMania? Says Alex Ramirez.
Alex, I haven't watched WWE in so long
Do you at least
since
know who
I've
Roman
had,
Reigns is?
yeah, yes, of
Okay.
course. So I have two young children now. I haven't even watched one football game, which is it's ridiculous to me because I used to tell people do not call me on Sundays during football season because I'm laying out in bed watching football from 10 a.m. to about 9 o'clock, wherever time it's gonna finish. And it's the same thing with wrestling. Like, we watched Monday Night Wrestling and we watched everything, all the pay-per-views, we did everything. And now I can't even tell you when is WrestleMania? That's a good question.
WrestleMania is in I want to say it's the first, well, April 10th or something, 10th and 11th
Didn't it
at
used to be
SoFi.
earlier in the year?
Yeah, it used to be March, like end of March, sometimes
Right.
mid March. And it's weird because WrestleMania starts in 85, which is the year of my birth, but WrestleMania is older than me. And I don't under fucking stand it. Yeah. Like it's going to be
When did
WrestleMania
W
38, but
did
I'm
they have
30.
two WrestleManias in a year?
I don't, I haven't done the research to like whatever, but I have always like in recent years I'm on like I'm as old as WrestleMania. Actually, oh, Alex Ramirez corrects me, April 1st and 2nd, so
I see.
it is kind of early.
At
But
SoFi? That'd be
that's
dope.
SoFi. Yeah, I mean, me and your nephews and your husband, and shout out. It's kind of late, but the reason why we didn't film last week is um, we had the birthday of the great impregnator, one Jason Wade.
The
No,
impregnator, yes.
isn't that isn't that is the love of your life, the orange crush to your naranja harito, right?
I don't even like jarritos.
Oh, I do, I
I'm a
do.
terrible. I'm telling you, I'm a terrible Hispanic.
Are you?
I am the worst Hispanic. I'm trying to see. Now I'm curious. How many WrestleMania 2, 3, 4? But give me a date. How is 85 and we're on 38?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, theoretically speaking.
There has
They
to be two WrestleManias in one.
because I by the time WrestleMania happens, I will still be 37. Maybe that's it. Like, and it'll be WrestleMania
Oh,
38
because your birthday's later on in the
later
in
on
the
in the year.
year.
Ah, we solved
Okay.
the WrestleMania caper.
See.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
There had to be a reason. And
She went to
McMax,
Phoenix,
yeah, McMax said I went to Phoenix, Arizona, all the way to Tacoma,
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, Atlanta, LA, Northern California, where the girls are so warm I could be with my sweet baby. Yeah. Um, I think
What
that's the
song is
Eagles.
that?
That's the Eagles. It's taking it easy. I went from Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, it's stuck in the Eagles. Right on. Shout out. Funny enough, my wife was listening to what is it? The She Belongs to the City, the '80s song, right? And I was like, oh, do you know who that is? And she's like, oh, she looked on the YouTube and it was like Glenn Fry, and then um, I was like, okay, what band is Glenn Fry from?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, okay. And I'm giving her hints. I'm like, hey, the drummer also had a pretty good solo career. Their songs are perpetually played on classic rock radio stations. And she's like, that could be anywhere. And I was like, well, the drummer is Don Henley, who created Girls of Summer and Boys of Summer. I'm sorry,
Uh-huh.
and like New York Minute and all that jazz. But the band that Glenn Fry and obviously Don Henley were in were called the Beatles, the Eagles.
The
Fucking
Eagles.
the Eagles, the Eagles. What the fuck am I? I don't know. I don't know.
Does your wife ever go, can't you just listen and
Oh,
not give me extra information?
yeah, no, and I can't. My brain doesn't work that way, and I got it wrong. It was actually Steve Miller
Stevie
Band.
Miller.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was Stevie Miller.
and Adam don't take up singing. No, that's not great. My dad was a musician. He wasn't a singer. I use a microphone for a different reason, and it's not singing at all. Although the mic that I have, a Shure SM7B, is the same type of microphone that both Rogan uses and what Michael Jackson used to record Thriller. So, yep, that's a thing.
Well, that's
It's a thing,
useful information.
I guess. Yeah. Eagles 2002 best hit has the
Most
record
albums
for.
sold in history.
Yeah, there you go. That is true. Um but you were asking about my wife and what she
Yeah, did she ever go, do you ever just listen and not give me extra information?
yeah, she's asked. She's asked and my brain is not wired that way. Also to oh, you haven't met George Hermosa. So like I'm with this at random shit. He is just like that with wrestling. Like he would have told us exactly why there was 38 WrestleManias or whatever the fuck. Like he's a encyclopedia of knowledge
Mm-hmm.
in terms of wrestling. But I mean, I'm bad because it's not just the stuff that I kind of read or know, and I don't have any like I'm bad in terms of maybe remembering birthdays or whatever, but I can remember who played on this song on whatever the fuck, right? And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of it's a fucking curse, realistically. But that kind of trait in my mental whatever
Mm-hmm.
goes as far as like my dad was a street performer, right? And I've been in situations where there'd be 100 people watch him and his bandmate play, and when the crowd scattered and everything like that, and it's the time to look at the tips, and there's $20 amongst 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're walking down like a Santa Monica Promenade or any place that has a street performer of any sort, she's like, oh, let's listen to the music or watch them perform. And I'm like, do you have money? And she goes, no. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're not doing it. We're going to keep on trucking. She's like, why? I'm all like, you're stealing from him. You're still. I've been that kid where the fucking lights shut off because there'd be 100 people listening and $20 in the fucking, you know,
Hmm.
jar. So yeah, man.
Which is funny because we went out to eat Sunday morning. We did a family photo shoot in the morning, then we went to have breakfast with family. And we were paying, at the bottom now they show you the gratuity. It's at 18, 20, 22%. But the gratuity is added after taxes. And some people don't believe of adding the tip to the total. They add the tip according to how much was spent before the total. Well, my mom was a server, so I was like, well, I don't care. I just need the server to get her money. So I just threw in all the money that I had because I would have wanted my mom to have that money, right? And like she would say, this person ordered like $150 worth of food, and they gave me like $5 tips. And so, that sticks to you just like your dad's music stuff, right? Like you don't want to listen to it unless you have money for tip. Just like I don't want to tip low because I didn't like it when my mom didn't get tip. And she was a good waitress. So
And I feel that. And again, shout out to your mom, man. Setting a precedence or success. Both your parents. As it
mhm.
mine. And it's absolutely cool that you still have your dad. That's still here, like in fighting the good fight. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, man. As we get older, and especially when they're not here, you kind of everything that they kind of instilled in you, kind of
Mhm.
whether you know it or not.
It's
That's what.
there.
Yeah, it's there. And McMack says Adam's wife probably buries him. I don't all spouses like yeah, don't all, I mean, there's no way that I could have an ego because between like the spirit of my parents, my cousins, my wife, my kids, my sister, I can't have an ego. I just interviewed whatever, and they're like, who the fuck is that? Because I'm so in my mind,
Right.
whatever. Like even my cousin, they're like, and they're in Fiji. First thing, like, oh, this is what you do, Uncle Adam. Cool. Have you interviewed John Cena? And it makes everything that I've ever done in my life look like
Useless.
absolute dog shit.
Worthless.
100%. So I can't
You
have an
know John
ego.
Cena? Psh,
There
who
was a
cares?
there was a short-lived there was a podcast that went sideways that I was supposed to be on, and we created me and the co-host, we created a Twitter page, and follower number 7 was the official John Cena Twitter.
Mhm.
So whether it's him or whether it's somebody who handles his social media, that the podcast never went past maybe episode 3 or 4,
Mhm.
but the Twitter, whatever the fuck, for it, um, is essentially
Out
getting
there.
followed by John Cena somewhere.
So there you go. Just show them how to like.
Yeah, but then
Being
again,
follow.
it's weird now because like Twitter, now you can just buy the verified check mark. So
Mhm. How
you
much is
know,
that? How much is
$8,
it?
eight
Really? We should buy
smackaroonie.
it.
Eh.
You should definitely buy it.
But what's the point if everybody's floating around with like, like blue check marks? And
Because
again,
eventually they're gonna actually verify them. Like they have to eventually, right? Like you can't just.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, but also, like I'm the worst social like promoter of myself. Like I
You're
will
always online all the time.
sometimes, yeah, but I'll hashtag other people's shit, but I won't do mine. There was a time earlier in my career where I would go hashtag crazy and like 87 hashtags one time for one single post of a video
Hmm.
that I helped. I mean, I just put the pieces together. I guess that would make me a producer of it, but like it was the great and powerful Bosun Wang who did the videography and editing. Yeah, and I would fucking put 87 hashtags on that motherfucker. And, for a whopping total of collectively maybe about 5,000 views, which, yes, it was great. And it was like 6 years ago, but, there's fucking people eating, I don't know, gummy worms on fucking TikTok that have way
Yeah.
more than that. So,
My
again,
son has like 500 views for him dancing.
t- I mean, I
He's only
I don't know
one.
what to say to that. I mean, like, yeah, go kid, but also, who are the fucking 500 people, man?
Right.
It gets
I was
weird
like,
and spooky. Yeah.
he's fully dressed, so he's fine.
No, I mean, I don't know.
That's
I
another
don't.
thing that people have to start realizing. It's like you can't no longer take pictures of your kids naked and post them because that's just not appropriate.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, man. People
It's
get
not
their.
like it used to be.
Oh no, 100%. Like everybody had that. Like if you got it serious with somebody and your parents were still with us and they had pictures, well, inevitably there would be a picture sprung up of you getting bathed in the fucking sink, with all your giblets hanging out. And now
I
they
have
were
those.
yeah, they were 3-year-old giblets, which again makes it even weirder, but giblets nonetheless, and then we'd be like, "Oh, mom or dad, what the fuck?"
Hmm.
Yeah, if you're lucky,
My
it would
kids'
be.
giblets are on the wall.
I mean, oof, I don't know if I can talk about this, but I don't know. Should I talk? I don't know. Should I talk about this? Okay,
Sure.
so I my
There was one of my giblets.
there you go, 100%. No, there my youngest grandchild was born, and like it was like me and my wife, and my wife had stayed there. I went to go
Mhm.
pick her up, and then there was also my in-laws, my wife's parents that were. That's a difference. That's a whole crazy story within itself. Another story for another day. But we're all there, like fawning over the baby, and it's my daughter and her husband's room, and the baby's in there. But also, my daughter took, like, a couple years back, some like racy pictures that got blown up into like 18 by 24 fucking posters, and like I'm looking at my father-in-law, and we're fucking looking at the baby and looking at the ground, because, like, what the fuck are we gonna? That's weird. I don't know, but it.
Why did why did they get blown up?
I, you know, I don't know what the fuck goes on in my house. And also, that wasn't my house. That was their place, their room. And, because the baby's there, everybody come to the room. But also, there's
Did you do a boudoir photo shoot?
that's what I hear. I'm still stuck on the
Okay.
check cocootery fucking board. To me, it's fucking meats and
Charcuterie,
cheese.
you idiot.
Okay, cool. I got the same fucking
So
Inglewood High
what?
School education as you, Miss Mademoiselle. Jesus
It's
Christ.
a charcuterie board. Okay, so look,
I don't even think that's that, but
it
okay.
is. That's what it is.
It's a
So
charcuterie board.
no, it's see now I can't say it because you're saying it wrong. It's a
What?
charcuterie. And now I can't say it. God damn
It's
it!
a charcuterie board.
No, it's not a coochie board.
It gets your fucking shark giblets over here with
It's a
the fucking meat.
charcuterie board.
Okay, cool.
So I did a baby shower and and one of the gifts was a charcuterie board, right? And so I was like, "This is cute. It's nice." And the person that won it goes, "I've been wanting one of these. I need a new cutting board." And I'm like, "No, no, it's a charcuterie board." She's like, "What?" It's a, it, it's fine. Just your board. It's a
Yo.
cutting board.
So, crazy enough, I can't remember what, but we have a family friend that was like, hey, there you go. We have a family friend that kind of challenged my wife to make one,
It
right? And I had never heard, like, for me, it's like a fucking party tray, like, simple, fucking.
really is. It's
It's
just a It's a
It's a
board.
board
It's
with,
a display board.
yeah, nobody gives a shit about the board because
Everybody loves the board.
I know you want the shit that's on the board. I don't see any
I actually bought a board for my boss in Vegas that is like it's fucking amazing, and it had like this great design. There's a girl at the farmers market that does these like wave designs on the boards, and she does it on other stuff. But it was a charcuterie board, and I was like, oh, I was like, my boss would love this, and his wife would love it because she's into hosting. He doesn't give a shit, but because of the waves and it's very beachy, so it's something that he would like. So I sent it to him, and I was like, oh, well, when if you use it, make sure you wash it this way, and you gotta clean it this way. He's like, I don't even think I'm gonna use this shit. This shit's too nice. Can't put all kinds of cheeses and meats and shit. I'm like, that's what it's for. But I wouldn't put anything on it either because it was so nice. But people are into that shit now. They love it.
well,
It's a
just like
display board.
people are into hosting, man. I don't have it. Oh, I mean, I guess maybe because I never really had like we grew up all over the place, right? So I never had a place like come on over without like my uncle's like, who the fuck is this? Or like my cousin's like, ah, whoop that fucker's ass or whatever. The oh, you got a girl coming over the house? Ooh,
Hmm.
whatever the fuck, right? So like that ship has fucking sailed. Now people have come over like the house or whatever, but like I don't know how to fucking entertain them. And the few times that I have, like people like okay, like I have a cousin, right, who may or may not have illegal streaming ways of viewing things, right? So
Hmm.
an illegal, I don't know. But yeah, so I'm all like, hey, there's this shit on Netflix or whatever the fuck. Well, he's already fucking seen it and binge watched it and not have to pay $20 for the damn thing. So what do you
Hmm.
do? Well, board games. Let's play board games. Oh, so I'm fuck it, man. Like when I see people like, oh my god, like, oh fucking gotta get the family, like here we go in the holidays, like, oh, the family's coming over, I gotta fucking do the what. I, I'm out, man. Like life is
So you,
stressful enough.
are you hosting Thanksgiving?
Fuck
Or do
no.
you go somewhere for Thanksgiving?
Last year, I mean, fuck, the last 2 years everybody was at home, so you know there's that. And then I have a friend that a very close family friend that last both Thanksgiving and Christmas we go over to his place. The last pre-COVID Thanksgiving that we had, my oldest son at the house, because there's three older kids, all voting age, but the youngest one
Hmm.
that's still here, not married and living in Bakersfield, because the two that are married and living in Bakersfield are both married and living in Bakersfield. So
Right.
there's that. But the youngest of the older kids, he was like, "Hey, let me just chill out at home. Everybody's gonna be gone, like whatever." And he decided that he was going to make like turkey tacos. But also, like the week before, he had discovered soju. Do you know what soju is?
No.
It's this fucking Korean, like rice wine that is so fucking sweet that you don't think is alcoholic until it fucking hits you. And it's
Hmm.
about 20 ounces, but I mean, it's meant to be shared, right? So think of
Right.
the same liquid metric of whatever the hell
Hmm.
um as a soda, right? But it's fucking alcohol, like very
Right.
potent alcohol. So this dude is like, and didn't really have he was new to the drinking, right? So he's all like, ah, this soju's good, whatever, and then cook his tacos or whatever. But the thing about that particular kid, man, he doesn't cut corners at all. Like this is the kid that like most people say, oh, kids don't have like, as parents they don't have like instruction manuals. This kid fucking figured it out, man. Like
Mhm.
we never had to push him with his studies. He just got fucking straight A's just because he wanted to do it. He works out. He's got like 8 packs, like fucking whatever. That's this kid. He's just a fucking
Mhm.
Daz Wonder kid, right?
Mhm.
But like he couldn't just have like regular fucking 18, 20-year old fucking um turkey tacos. He has to fucking base the fucking shit and present. And the only person that was here was him. Everyone else had went to my
But
friend's
I,
house,
dude,
right?
yeah. I mean, it's gotta. Your food's gotta look sexy to you too.
It's great. No, 100%. Like, self care, whatever the hell. Although the self care went kind of awry because,
He was too drunk too.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. So, yeah, I mean, that he's great. Like all my kids are great. But, it's cool. But yeah, if those yeah, I don't fucking like people at the house. I'm all like, show up and there you go. But like doing a theme or decorating the house, nah, I don't. I don't.
I host.
Okay, I know
I
this. That's how
host.
I met you.
I host and I cook all of Thanksgiving dinner from scratch.
Okay,
So I yeah, I host Christmas and Thanksgiving and
what
or New
is
Year's.
so? What is from scratch? Like what does that mean? Are you going out and slaughtering a turkey? Peter's gonna love this.
Mm, I mean, sure, but no.
Okay, all right. Like, at what point does it stop being processed and it's like your own volition?
So I brine my turkey for 3 days
Okay.
prior, and then I cook my own turkey from scratch. I don't get it pre-cooked. Well, last year I actually got my turkey from, where did we get it from? Honey Baked Ham, I think, because they have them pre-made, which is they're great, and it cuts a lot of excuse me, it cuts a lot of time into making the turkey. So but I make my turkey 3 days in advance. I put it in the oven for 4 to 5 hours. My mac and cheese is from scratch. I don't box it up. I make my potatoes from scratch. I don't, they're not flakes. What else? What else do I make? I make a bunch of stuff. Some vegetables, I cut and cook them all myself. My cheeses, I don't buy the grated cheese. I grate my own cheeses for my mac and cheese. I don't know why I don't just buy the bag. Doesn't feel like I'm doing it on my own if I don't do it. If I don't do the whole block of cheese for some reason. But yeah,
Is that, I mean, is that like a neurotic? I mean, since the theme is kind of diseases for this show, like one would argue that, things of the mental, right?
yeah,
They can be such great motivators, right? Like, oh my
yeah,
God, like you stay on this particular thing so much that you develop 8 ways around it and you develop this awesome thing or thought or process of doing stuff and
hmm,
whatever that changes the world. But
yeah.
also,
It's just food.
yeah, they're right. Right.
Like I get up the day before and I prep. I prep all my stuff, right? The next morning, Thanksgiving morning, we go to somewhere to eat breakfast because I'm not cooking breakfast and dinner.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
we usually go out for breakfast. And then I come home and I have a list. At 12, this goes in the oven. At this time, this goes there. At this time, you start that. At that. So everything's like, and it has to be on point. Because if I skip something, I'm always going to fuck the whole thing up. So usually I have to know exactly what time. So everything comes out at the same time. Everything's hot. Everything's ready to go. Nothing's cold or overcooked or undercooked. Everything's just like nice and perfect. And
Yeah,
everything's at the table. And if I tell you dinner is at 5, dinner's at 5, and that's it. There's no come at 5, chill. We're gonna have chips because the turkey's not. No, no, no. Dinner is at 5 on the table, ready and done.
wow.
Yeah, it's obsessive sometimes.
I that is the emphasis of me. I'm on the opposite. I mean, if there's levels and spectrums to the shit, I am on the other fucking shallow end of the fucking pool. Like,
uh,
I am trying to like that's not my jam. Like I have cooked in the past.
mm-hmm.
My wife is so much better that I almost just like, ugh, you you this go ahead, But
You do
also
it. You're
like
fine.
yeah, but also like would the relationship be better if I did more stuff? Fuck yes, right? So yeah, I
But
don't
at
know.
time, but at times it's like, then what else do I have if you're better at this?
I have podcasting. I have fucking interviews. That's it.
No, I'm saying like as a wife, like if you were better at cooking, then I'm just like at cooking. So let me just be better than you at cooking. You just eat that way. I have gratification that I'm better.
Yeah,
So it works.
yeah. I
It
guess
works.
it's a very traditionalistic way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I don't.
But as I've gotten older, like I said, like I buy my turkeys from Honey Baked Ham now, the turkey and the ham, because they're already pre-made, they're packaged, they're seasoned, they're everything. All I have to do is put it in the oven, let it cook, and I'm done. So the only thing I usually do now is my sides, like my potatoes, my uh, Brussels sprouts, my squash, my this, my that, uh, my mac and cheese, my dinner rolls. I buy so a lot of the stuff that I don't have time to do anymore, I just like buy it.
Yeah,
But I won't buy any of my sides. I have to do all my side dishes. I have to. Like, it's not gonna. No, I
yeah.
can't.
And that's respectable. For me, I'm logistics and automation. All right, I used to work for an automation company, and then many moon ago, I worked for FedEx, which is logistics. So
Mm-hmm.
I I try to merge the two in everything that I do. Like even setting up the thing and whatever, and our kind of like message back and forth of what are we gonna do tonight, whatever. And I from set up the link, create the damn what is it, the YouTube card, blah blah blah, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
fuck, and like that's it. But also, I'm not so prideful. If I could just pay somebody to do that, I could also be absolutely good with that. Like,
Right, because like at first you're like, okay, I have to do it all by myself because no one can do better than me, and it has to be done my way, right? And then
yeah,
now I'm like, I'll just finish it.
yeah. See,
I'll just make sure it looks good.
I don't have any illusions of grandeur. I don't think any. There's nothing that I do, and maybe this is a horrible thing to admit, right? But there's nothing that I do that I don't know at least 10 people that can do it better.
I mean, that's everyone. Like
Yeah.
if you think
No,
that
some
you
people are
can.
like, no, I'm the fucking God's gift to whatever the
No,
fuck.
that's what I'm saying. Like if you are that person that think that no one can do it better than you, you're fucking delusional.
Yeah.
I don't I don't think there's one person that knows, because people are constantly learning, right? People are constantly evolving. People are
Right.
constantly changing, and like, oh, he knows how to do a podcast. Let me see how I can do it. But I'm going to do it better. So there's always someone that's going to do it better than you are, or at least seem like it's getting done better, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%.
And it might just be because the shortcuts that they figure out versus you, the creator, know the long way of
Yeah.
doing things. So it takes you this long to do one thing, but that person has watched you do what you do and
Hmm.
figured out from the outside, oh, I know how to do that differently, right?
Yeah. And
So
also,
I don't think it's more of there's always got to be someone better than you.
yeah, and not just that, but I feel very fortunate in a lot of the things that like do. I've had great mentors, right? I mentioned, Bosun Wang, and that was kind of my
Mhm.
in. He had the vision. He's like, I can make shit better than the fucking UFC embedded, and I'm like, oh, cool. I know some fighters that are fighting, and blah blah. There goes the logistical side of things, right? And
Right.
then was a part of the Jim Crashers podcast, and Robert Zimmerson, who had the green screen and all that stuff. And then COVID
Mhm.
happens, and, you know, like I end up guessing, like being a guest on the Keyboard Warriors MMA podcast. And they're like, you've been on our podcast so many times. Why don't you have your own fucking podcast? I was like, because I don't like to do the technical shit. And they're like, oh, we use this thing, StreamYard. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I literally was like, this is July 2020 when there's not a lot of money coming in. And I'm like,
Mhm.
hey, honey, I'm also going to add a bill to do this thing. So, like, the
Right.
first, like, I don't know, 20 episodes of the podcast was like justifying to my wife, like, hey, there's not a lot of money coming in, but we're gonna spend this to do this and whatever. And if
Right.
I can do X amount and whatever, it'll be $1 a podcast or whatever. And then people just started coming, and people,
Mhm.
Everett Osmer was out of Alabama. He would send me people. Gary Brown out of Mississippi was just like, hey, I've got fighters that I manage, and I just kept on going. But yeah, and the reason why, like, I've gotten to I'm not a household name, right? You might
Mhm.
have me in your house watching this thing, but I'm not a household name. I'm not a
Mhm.
Kim Kardashian or whatever the fuck. Thank God. But that's another story for another day. But
Right.
um, like, I know where I'm at, but I've also had people that could have withheld that information from me, and they didn't. So that's why when everybody's like, "Hey, let's do a podcast," I'm like, "Yeah," and then here's how you do this, and this is what I whatever do it better. So it's weird because I kind of perpetuate that whole, like, people can do it better for me because what I know, I'm just like, here, this is what I know. Fucking take it, because somebody tried to
Right.
charge me $250 an hour to do
For
exactly
some
what,
BS.
yeah, exactly what I'm giving you
Mhm.
as a consulting fee.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and that's the difference, right? Like the consultant that's charging you $250 is gonna do it the same way. The only thing difference is that he had the time to look it up and we're lazy, so we'd rather just pay the 250.
And two
Right.
fifty an hour without equipment. So it's just like
Right.
showing you the shit to get, but not actually getting the shit to get.
No. No,
You know,
it's not gonna happen.
I mean,
But I the I like that you touched on your wife. Like not everyone has
I
that support, right? Like that support that you had. Like
I touch
anyone
on
would
my
be
wife
like,
often.
hell. I can't with you.
There we go.
Um, yeah, no, like I think it's cool. Like she supports you and she's like, fine, we're adding another bill. So it is what it is. But you're doing what you want to do, and it shows that you're actually making it happen instead of just saying, this is another thing I want to do and then just leave it half-assed, right? Because there's not a lot of women that are gonna be like, ugh, again, like you're gonna do something else now. Like just find something already. Like I'm like that with my husband. My husband loves to bowl, and I was like, so bowl. And I'm like online, like, look, there's a tournament this weekend. There's a tournament on this day. There's a tournament on that day. And so I think it's cool.
No, it is. I realize how I'm fortunate, but it's weird because it's also kind of my destiny. It's the very thing that I ran away from. My grandfather was the first broadcaster in Fiji, right? My mom's dad, right?
Hmm.
And she always kind of pushed me and molded me in his mold, right?
Mhm.
Um, and the further away that I ran from it, the fucking emptier my life felt, right? So
Mhm.
my wife was there when I had the fucking good jobs, whether it be good paying or fancy title, manage this and and I
Mhm.
wasn't happy. I fucking wanted to quit it. I fucking wanted to quit it every time.
Mhm.
She would always call it the honeymoon period. We're like, oh, everything's great, blah blah blah, and it was like the damn probationary to the 90 days, and after that, then they let me behind and see what the fuck the Wizard of Oz was cooking, and it was fucking cyanide for everyone. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
fuck, I gotta get out of here, and you couldn't have gotten me to say. And she had before I started doing this. I mean, we're going on 20 years, right? So
Mhm.
before I started doing this, there was a fucking decade and a half where I didn't know fuck all from anything. And it wasn't
Mhm.
her fault. It wasn't the kid's fault. Nobody, it was something that I needed to do for
That you
myself.
need to do, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think
she,
it's a guy thing.
is it really?
I think so. I think my husband's in the same has been in the same predicament where he's does this job, does that job, and he's like, yeah, they're cool, and then he's like, ugh, I can't, and it always goes back to him bowling, and I said, well, you gotta hurry up and bowl. Let's make it happen, Captain. And then and then responsibilities happen, so then you get another job, and then you start all over. And
Y-
I think
Yeah.
it's just the fact that men know that they have to be providers, and so
But
eventually, I think eventually he's gonna say, "Fuck it, I want to bowl, and that's all I'm
I,
gonna do."
I think, I mean, I try to not to generalize things because there are men that don't provide. There are
Then do
men
shit.
that just go to work and that's it. And what are your
Mhm.
hobbies? I don't have it. I have work.
Mhm.
And not just men. There's women. Like put off getting married and having a family, and it doesn't matter if your significant other is the same sex. It doesn't matter. Like it happens in all people. It
It
happens in
sure does.
all
Yeah.
people, right? And sometimes I feel like I'm cursed, right? Where like I wish I could just go in and put on a fucking suit and do the very same thing that I'm doing now to other people with money or whatever. I don't even know what that fucking job is, right?
Mhm.
But then I see like, you know, Google laid off a shit ton of people. Twitter laid off a shit ton of people. The stock market is like ravaged.
Yeah.
Facebook just fucking let go of a shit ton of people, right? And you like look up that on any social media, and you have
Mhm.
literal people that had been there, like this is their life's work to
Yeah.
work for that, and now that doesn't exist, and you
But
know
I
you
think that's the problem. We're always looking to how to make someone else better. I would need to work for that company. Well, that company, you're just a number. And I think that's what we feel. And that's where all these new kids, I think, are it's smart. Like they're creating their own content, they're creating their own platforms, they're creating their own space where they don't need that third party. They don't need to say, I need to work for Google to be the
Mhm.
best, or I need to work for Twitter to be, recognized as whatever it is that you do there, right? Like most kids now, or most adults too, like you're creating your own content. Like you're creating your own content, your own space, your own time, your own everything, and you're happy doing it. And it's when you want it to be done.
Yeah.
And then you're not stressed about what time you have to get up, what time you're going in, what time you're doing this, what time you're doing that. And then on top of that, you have the support from your wife that makes it worried free, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Everything has its challenges, right?
yeah,
But no,
definitely.
but she's good on that. But
Right.
you know, to her credit, like she thought like pandemic, I'm gonna have him home, and then I fucking did 550 episodes of the podcast in 2 years, and
Hmm.
like this became my life, like and yes, it furthered a lot of the things that I wanted to do, but also like was I there? It's just like, how if you're a musician and you travel, right? You go on tour, or you're, an
It's that
actor.
sacrifice.
Right, exactly. Well, I did it in real time at the house. I managed
Hmm.
to be
There without being
gone,
there.
yes, gone, withdrawn, whatever, obsessive,
Hmm.
right here in the corner of my studio apartment, you know,
I
and
was
still do.
pregnant during the pandemic, so I didn't do nothing
There you go.
but lay around and listen to D Nice.
Okay. Well, like, wait, D Nice? Isn't that Groove is in the Heart? Is it not?
No, he's a DJ that became really popular on Instagram
Okay.
because he was doing Club Quarantine.
Oh, is that the guy who. I don't know the guy.
He's a DJ with the hats, awesome hats.
I feel like there was a lot
But
of those during the pandemic.
he was the main one. He's become really, really famous since. I mean, he was a rapper prior, like 80s. And then became a DJ, stuck to being a DJ, but he really went off during the pandemic because he had Club Quarantine. And
Mm.
he had a lot of celebrities in the comments and all that stuff. And it was pretty cool. Like Holly Berry was in the comments. He was in the comments. Bobby Flay. You had
Wow.
like a bunch of different celebrities. Like Diddy, like all kinds of celebrities in the comments. And so it was really cool for like the commoners to be in the same comments as all these other people. So sometimes we would have like I had my old phone and we would put Instagram live because he would always be live
Mm.
and listen to him DJ all day while we're playing like Xbox, or playing on our phones because I was pregnant, so I wasn't doing shit during the pandemic.
Mm.
So while we're listening to DJ Denice, we were playing video games, cooking, doing whatever. So it's cool. I'm surprised you don't even know who that is.
I'm sure. I'm sure I do. I probably don't put the like. It's weird. So here goes my old guy rant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like it's amazing that people are doing things, right? Myself included, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yourself included, right? Like we're doing things that wasn't at our disposal in years
Right.
prior, right? But with it, right? And there's even people that have done it way better.
Mm-hmm.
The TikToks, the Instagram, the Twitter influencers, and they aggregate change, and the OnlyFans chicks and the Twitch streamers and all that stuff, and they're making a shit ton of money, right?
Have you been on OnlyFans?
N- no, I, I don't think anybody, people would pay me to put my clothes on at this juncture.
I mean, like you have your own thing. Like you see, like have you not?
Have I nutted on the OnlyFans? No, no, I haven't. Theoretically,
Nor that. But I'm saying, like, have you been on the site? Is it a site?
no.
Is it an app? What is it? I don't know what it is.
I I
I know
don't
what it. I know what it
I
is, but
know
I don't
I
know
know
what it
people
is.
that have them for sure,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Like
Is it an? Is it
it's
an
I don't
app?
know.
Is it like a?
That's out of my pay range.
Okay, I don't. I don't know
Yeah,
what it is.
but I mean, it is a
I
thing
know
that
people
people.
pay to watch shit. I know that
Yeah,
for sure.
and I mean, kudos, right? Like kudos to anybody that was figuring it out, because also the reason why, like, I did 550 podcasts in what 2 years or whatever the
Hmm.
fuck, is like I knew if when things got back to normal, if they ever got back to normal, it'll be going back to the regular fucking shit, man.
Yeah.
Like total disclosure, like I'd go and I like drive for Uber or Lyft for like 10 to 12 hours. I'd leave at like 6 a.m. and whatever, and then there would
Mhm.
be a show that I would do interviews for, and then I would literally drop people off at the venues and then walk inside with my fucking sport coat and whatever. Like, hey, isn't that the fucking? Yes, it
Isn't
is.
that my Uber guy?
Yeah, 100%. And I didn't
Yeah,
give a
but
shit.
that's pretty dope.
You know, um, but I
Cause,
knew that.
cause when do you have the opportunity to do that? Like, when can someone say, "Dude, I was just in that dude's car, and now he's fucking doing a show"? Like, that's dedication. That shows people that you are dedicated to what you're supposed to do, but also have the dream of, right?
Yeah,
So it's not like you're just at home doing podcasting all the time and not contributing and not doing something.
yeah,
This
no,
is my life. This microphone's my life. I
I
can't do
mean,
anything.
shit. I mean, even when I was doing Gym Crashers, like where I live to where Stanton is, Stanton, California, just what the town over from Disneyland. For those who don't know, like
Mm-hmm.
some nights it would be 90 minutes to get there, 2 hours to get there, and I would drive, until I got there and leave like extra early. Like there were times with my youngest, like I would be up and out before he got up, and then I would come back home at like 2 in the morning, and he'd be asleep. You know,
Yeah.
and that's it. So I appreciate like this time where I can just do it from home, and
Right.
I don't take this for granted. But I often wonder, right? For every podcaster, Instagram influencer, or OnlyFans, well, you pick the poison, Twitch streamer, all these
Mm-hmm.
alternative ways to make a fuck ton of money now. And there's even if it's not a fuck ton, like you're replacing your normal job,
Mm-hmm.
or for going to college, right? Like, or you go to college because the college that you're going to, you don't have to be athletic. You're a fucking gamer that played at G3 or whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
and now you're on the damn UCLA gaming team, and you get all 4 years paid for because you
Yeah. That's
game,
what my
right?
nephew. I think that's what my nephew wants to do. My youngest. He
Which I
wants to
mean,
be a gamer. And I didn't even know there was gaming teams. I'm gonna tell him about that. I was like, we gotta
oh
look into
yeah,
that.
esports is as I mean, as big as as any given NFL, FIFA,
Mm-hmm.
NBA, WWE, UFC. It's right up there.
Right.
Where there, people were getting scouted for colleges and stuff like that. Now that was before pandemic. Everything's kind of changed since then, but yeah.
Definitely.
But I often wonder, right, for everybody that has found success in those medians that you know 10 years before weren't there, did we lose a sort of a workforce, like the people that
Definitely.
were supposed to be engineers and or
Hmm.
doctors and or nurses, or long truck drivers, and like all of this stuff, like going into any, I don't know, fast food establishment, right? And the
Hmm.
quality of, like, it takes longer and longer to get the order, even if you got the screens, you know to take your order, and all of the people that are working behind the counter are
Hmm.
fixing the food, but the quality,
It's shitty.
yeah, man. So like, and that's from
It's
the mo-
inflation too, though, right?
oh no, 100%. Like, it's all of it, and all of it is hitting at the same time. So like, we almost lost a generation of workforce because of it, because they like,
I don't think we almost. I think
we
we have.
we have,
There's so many people that work from home now that refuse to go back to the office. I personally love going into the office. I like getting up.
mm,
I like leaving my house. I like going into the office. I like leaving the office, going home. Like I like it. Like when I worked in downtown, we had major projects, and I remember going in at 6 in the morning, being the only one in the office till 2 in the morning, having my boss pay for my parking in the building so that I can park there. And here's credit card for dinner if you need dinner or whatever you need. Here's for food. And then leaving at 2 in the morning, coming home, showering, sleeping for 4 hours, getting up and going back to the office. I love
oh,
that.
okay,
But that's an older generation, right? Because now it's
right.
like I can just now whatever that means, I can do it from home. Like I'm literally staring at my work computer behind my laptop, and I
Mm.
can literally work all night if I wanted to, and
Don't
it
tell them
doesn't.
that. Shh.
Yeah, well, it's fine.
Yeah,
They know.
yeah. Ah,
Then I can log into my computer at work at any time. And there's been times where, like I've it's been crunch time, and I'm like, do you want me to work on this? And they're like, yes. And I get my hours. I don't get cheated out of my time, and neither do they. So it works out. Like if there's certain times, and then that's the other thing, right? The flexibility that some people can say, look, I have kids, and I need to work from 4 a.m. to, I don't know, noon, because that's the time that I have someone at home that can help me. After that, I don't have anyone, so I can't work and watch the kids.
right.
If I have that flexibility, I'm going to take it. No
Yeah,
one wants to like pay someone half of their check to watch their kids.
yeah. No, hundred
And
percent.
some people pay their babysitters more than they fucking make at times.
No, 100%. Which,
Hi, Christina.
yes. And she also says that's the cousin. Like that shirt, nice color.
Thank you.
There you
Thank you.
go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean it's. Oh, is that the little one there?
Yeah, he just probably woke up,
Uh oh.
or the
Um.
brother woke him up. One of the two.
Dun dun dun. Uh oh.
You hear him?
Yeah. We gotta get
He's
let you
fine.
go. You good?
Yep, he's fine. He's
Okay.
a dad. He's fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dad's
No,
got
but
him.
I just yeah. I'm like what when we look at like the whole global economy, right? Like,
Hmm.
what does like this country have to give? Because
Yeah,
the
like.
generation or two before us outsourced everything, so
Hmm.
there's no call center jobs, there's no manufacturing jobs, there's
No,
no none of that. Like farming jobs, also, like
I think we need to bring back tech schools. I know tech schools are like bullshit, but like plumbers make so much money,
yeah,
electricians make so much goddamn money, and like all that stuff that we learned that are no longer in schools, like it's crazy. Like economics is no longer in school. And I wish with all this new crap that they're adding to schools, they would add the fact that kids need to learn how to balance money, do all this crap. Because if you're going to be making all this money doing stuff online, you got to know how to balance your money. And then most people don't. Kids are going to spend every fucking thing.
yeah. But maybe that's the thing, maybe they don't want, and whoever they is, right?
Right.
That's subjective, right? But maybe the education is not the plan. That maybe that's not the ulterior motive.
Hmm.
Maybe it's better to keep some people in the dark. Because
Mm,
no, I mean,
maybe.
and I philosophically I have these kind of discussions with my wife, right? But then, like, of the we just had like midterm elections here in the states, right? And
Did you vote?
yeah, yeah, I I don't have to fucking wear a sticker or whatever the fuck. Like I don't
I forgot I was going to.
I I don't know, like even
Let
like the political leanings and shit like that. I don't it it weirds. I don't know. I find it very interesting that people would give a shit one way or another what I thought, Phil voted, whatever the fuck.
Yet
It's
you voted.
yeah, like I
Did you vote just because? Like, why did you
no,
vote? Because there's a lot of people that feel exactly that way, and that's the reason why they don't vote. Yet
I
you voted.
I
That's
don't know.
interesting to me.
So for me, I my mom, right? Mom being an immigrant, my dad, in the military,
Hmm.
and that was important. And when she came to Inglewood, like how Drake says, like, oh, started from the bottom, now we're here, right?
Mhm.
That's the fucking song, right? There was a time where my mom would like walk me and my sister to school,
Mhm.
uh and we live like by where like Randy's Donuts is, like.
Mhm.
And she worked we went to Oak Street School, which is like Midway. And
Right.
then she would continue on to work at on Century at the
Mhm.
Fiji Visitors Bureau, where she worked with my uncle, right?
Mhm.
And then on her lunch break, she would come and walk us home and then go back to work on foot. And
Mhm.
one day she just fucking said, kind of fuck this, and she looked to the biggest building in Inglewood, and it was City Hall. She takes me and my sister, and I'm fucking Cartman, just a dark version, just a
Mhm.
ball of pudge, eighth grade me, right? And she asked the person at the desk on the bottom floor, first floor, like, well, where do I get hired? And the lady just like, go to the whatever floor, right? And then she goes to the floor, and mind you, she has two kids in tow,
Mhm.
my sweaty ass in a Crozier uniform that's been all fucking pizza stains and all that, whatever, and my sister, being her glamorous self, but a fourth grade version of her. And she asked the lady, like, okay, what, like, what jobs do you have? And the lady just kind of begrudgingly just like points to the spindle. And there was only one open position, and it was for like a secretary to like the IT division of City Hall.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, this is, what do I need to get this job? And the lady tells her, like, oh, you need, you know, a typing test and blah blah blah, whatever the fuck, right? So my mom was like, okay, cool. If I do this and I study for this, when I get this job, and I will get this job, well, obviously you see who I'm doing it for, my kids. And me, managing my typing is going to take away from their studies. So going to say, if I make the inroads for this fucking job, you're not interviewing anyone else. And the lady was like, what the fuck? Well, needless to say, my mom ended up getting that job. And then from there, she went to like city planning on like the eighth
Mhm.
floor. And then when she went on her self imposed retirement, she was 5 years in working as one of the assistants to the mayor.
It's dope
So like, there's the work ethic, right? But
that we don't have anymore.
unfortunately, but
Now
then again, like,
people are
we're
always
saying,
chasing the right. We're chasing the money. You're paying me 10, but I heard someone else is paying 12, but I heard someone else is paying 15, but I heard someone else is paying 20.
yeah,
So then you have like 30 people in your resume at one point. And then when
well,
I look at a resume, right, as a middle school person, if I look at a resume, you come in interview. So I've had this happen. I've had people come in for hiring, come in, bring me a resume like 30 pages long. And I'm like, this is not a consistent person. I've been at this job for 8 years. You've been at your last job, at your last 5 jobs in 2 years. Like, ugh.
yeah, no, I mean that happens, but also, we're talking like, as we, not to begrudge those, the social media influencers and OnlyFans
Mm-hmm.
and Twitch streamers, because like, on my podcast I had Nadia Sapphire, who's a Welsh a pro wrestler, but also has an OnlyFans site. And she
Mm-hmm.
detailed it. She's like, hey, it's work. Like, 18 hours of my day is dedicated to the OnlyFans, and, creating content and, chats with people and whatever, and making sure that, the subscribers getting their money's worth. Because if they don't, they drop in subscriber, and you either have to find new subscriber to make up the money, or you just,
Mm-hmm.
now you make less.
Right.
So yeah, and the social media influencers, if you've ever been around them, like they're always
Hmm.
trying to create content. It is a 24/7 you know deal. Rocky
Right.
Nelson, the good brother, says I've been on
I've been
my
at my
job.
job for 20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to
See?
you. But
And that's the old school way of doing it, right?
yeah,
Like people go into jobs and that's where they want to be. Like, I want to stay here to retire. If you're an older person, these new kids, they work, but they're still living at home with parents. They're still getting paid their housing. Some of them are still getting paid for food. Mom still pays for your gas every once in a while because you
yeah,
had partied it up the weekend before, and now you don't have any job, any money until you get paid. So mom has to cover. All of that is a big factor, right? Like if I don't have to pay for rent, I don't have to stay at this job. I can just move from job to job and just till I find something I like. And if I like it, am I going to be paying paid what I want? No,
right.
I'm not calling you old.
Well, I mean, okay, so
I've been at my job. My last job, I was at 8 years, and then I moved to Vegas. My Vegas job, I've been there for 3 years, going on 4 years in May. Um, I don't plan on leaving unless they fire me. I don't go, oh my God, what's the better job? No, because it's loyalty, right? I think is what we've lost. And but on the flip side, to play devil's advocate, I'm just a number to these people,
mhm,
right? So I think you gotta just know what you like and stick to it. Like Rocky's been there at 20 years. Like he must love his job. He
yeah,
must love what he does. And so that's pretty awesome. Like my dad was at his job for like maybe about 30 years before he had a stroke. My mom was at her job 22 years before she passed. She was
wow,
going on to her 23rd year before she passed. She started working at Hollywood Park Casino before they opened the casino.
really,
Yeah, definitely. So she's been there. She was there way before they opened and was there for 22 years.
wow,
Yeah.
that's wild.
So it's wild because now you don't see that. You see people jumping from spot to spot year by year.
Well, no, again, that again, that's one way of looking at it, and that is absolutely true, right?
Hmm.
But also, there isn't, I guess. Well, I mean, you talked about loyalty, but the loyalty is both sides, where
Hmm.
where companies don't want you to whatever. They'd rather, and this has been kind of the trend over the last 20 years where, people were like, oh, build you up, give you your raises, da da da, whatever, whatever, benefits, cool, whatever. And
Hmm.
then, oh, we're laying off a shit ton of people and then hiring two people to do the work of 10, and you one
And
third
paying them
of,
less.
yeah, one third of what the 10 people,
Yeah,
you
no,
know
that's what I'm saying. Plain devil advocate on the other side
yeah,
is we're just a number. But I think it also has to do with your company. If you're
yeah,
with a good company that you know and you have good, like I've been very fortunate to have amazing supervisors or managers. Like I've always had such a great managers that I don't mind going above and beyond for whatever.
yeah, no, 100%. And Rocky is saying, are you calling me old?
No,
Apparently
sir.
not. That what
Because
happened
we're
was,
old.
no, the way that I see it, they the company that he was in was like doing like, I don't know, like an infant training program, and Rocky
Hmm.
Nelson was 2. He was recipient of that and whatever, and Rocky Nelson is now 22 years old with 20 years of wisdom as a 22-year-old. So he's doing less of the dumb fuckery as other 22-year-olds. So
Yeah,
shout out to you, Rocky Nelson.
there you go.
There you go. No, but I mean, yeah, man. There's so much of there's so much that has changed, right? Like
Hmm.
you cannot retire, right? Between inflation and you know you and I, who are not too far in age, right, within a couple years,
Mm-hmm.
well, there's no social security for us at all.
Mm-mm.
We get to be 70 or whatever. That's why people are getting back into the workforce at 70, 80,
Yep.
80-year olds getting back into the workforce,
And
you
it's so
know.
sad.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the golden years where they're traveling
Mm-hmm.
and whatever, and it's not there. And if it's there, they're going to Argentina or Philippines or other places to make their money stretch, you know?
Yeah. And that's what
And
I was
that,
telling my dad. I said this year, every year from here on out, I was like, they're always saving up for something and then never be able to use your money because you're always saving up, you're always saving up. And then, like, my mom passed away.
yeah,
It's like, where did you go? You went nowhere else but your own country and Mexico, probably, right? And that's it.
right.
So I told my dad, we're going to travel. We're going to go somewhere. I don't care if we go to every state in the United States. We're going to go somewhere at least every year. And he
Yeah.
said, our oldest employee is 74.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I'd say.
The proof is in the pudding there. I mean, it's very amazing that you yourself, Claudia, and Rocky, and the 70-year old, 74-year-old coworker were able to find those, companies that, it
Mm-mm.
was reciprocated. Not to say that it was easy to go
Not at
through,
all.
right, but to have the respect reciprocated between both parties, and that's
Right.
awesome. But
Mm-hmm.
and he's saying it's boring at home,
Yeah,
and
a lot
that's
of I've had engineers retire two, three times from the same company, and that's exactly what they say. Like, I have nothing to do at home. I don't golf, and if I
Mhm.
do, I'm not gonna golf every single day for the rest of my freaking life from here on out. So I might as well go back to work and do something I like. Some people do it because they like it. Some people do it because they have nothing else to do at home. You know, and it's like, I'm gonna die just sitting here doing nothing. So I get it.
Yeah, or me, I'm a I guess I'm kind of that way, but also not. Because I everything that I do is freelance right now. All right,
Hmm.
so you know, freelance gig takes me out of the house, but then when I'm at home, I have a fuck ton of things to do at home.
Right.
And shit to edit, shit to clip, shit to commentary for. It's a
Hmm.
great fucking, like the 7-year-old me would be like, fuck yeah, man. Like, cool, right?
You're doing it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like I live by
Like my
two
1 year old
principles.
says, I did it. I did it.
Yeah. No, I'm not a big movie guy, but like there's two scenes of movies that really resonate with me when I saw them. So the first is Johnny Cash, the Walk the Line movie with Joaquin Phoenix, right?
Hmm.
And I don't know if it actually happened, but he's talking to Sam Phillips of Sun Records, who had already signed Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis, right? They were already
Hmm.
there. Chet Perkins, they were already there, and Johnny Cash, whatever. And he goes into fucking, try out for Sam Phillips and Sun Records, and he sings this fucking hymnal with like, he's just fucking paint by numbers, right?
Hmm.
And Sam Phillips, and I don't know if this actually happened or not, but Sam Phillips goes, "Hey, stop." He's like, imagine if you walk out this fucking studio and a car hit you and you're laying dead, dying in the ditch, and you got
And
one
that's
last
one
song
thing.
to sing. Are you going to sing that same tired ass hymnal that everybody's been singing since the beginning of time? Or are you going to sing something different? And again, I don't know if that fucking happened or if it was just like dramatized, but I live by that. And then the second
Right.
is, Mr. Deeds. They're trying to wrestle the fucking company away from uh, Adam Sandler's
Adam Sandler.
character, right? You know, and in front of the board and whatever, you know, they Adam Sandler was like, "Hey, you dude, what did you want to be when you were little?" He was like,
Hmm.
"Hey, I wanted to be a veterinarian. It was like, okay, what do you do now? I own the largest slaughterhouse in the state of Texas, and the oohs and the ahs or whatever. And Adam Sandler was like, the 7-year old you would kick your ass, man. Like
Right.
you fucked it up somewhere. So that's kind of been my life. Is like doing shit that would make the 7-year old me proud. And I up to this point, both personally and professionally, I've fucking done that. And not just the 7-year old me, the 12-year old me, the 17-year old me, the 21-year-old me.
Hmm.
It's all fucking there, you know? But then there's
I wanted to
still,
be a lawyer, so who the fuck knows what happened to me?
you wanted to be a lawyer?
Yep. I was like,
I
I can
mean,
argue my ass off.
who's to say you still can?
Oh, I didn't say I couldn't,
No, no, no. I'm not
but
saying I'm still not, but you use that skill in other ways, right? Where you're an advocate of your kids, right? If a fucking teacher goes sideways on your kid, you're gonna, you know, show them what's
yeah,
what.
yeah, I know I have that fuck you face, don't fuck with me face.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You
it's
just
fine.
exercise it in different ways, man.
I do very much so.
Yeah. So that's it, man. And
Yeah,
again, it's the sickness that
I
drives us
use
all.
I use my strong personality in different ways.
Yeah, it can either break us or not, right?
Right.
Our weakness becoming our strength and what have you, and that's just it is what it is. And Rocky says, I got that 74-year-old coworker to go to a local MMA event and I created a monster. Fuck
That's pretty
yes.
awesome.
Hell yes. And Steven Tatum, who might actually work at Hollywood Park Casino now. He says, did he? He did go south with that. Did he? Oh,
And
Mr. Deeds. Mr. Deeds. That's where he's referencing Mr. Deeds. There you go. Deedsy. Yeah, I remember that line. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, man. Again, diseases. It can fucking kill you, or it can make you stronger, and that
yeah.
is, we're seeing people that have fucking debilitating, life threatening, 2 weeks to live and whatever. Either they're
Hmm.
completely, with medicine and belief, they're living longer than the 2 weeks that they were given. Or if they know their fucking bread is buttered, hey, they're fucking making vlogs and showing other people that
Hmm.
it's not like giving a face to death rather
Right.
than, and there's still life to be led
Hmm.
even in death, an understanding to be had even when it's all said and done,
Yeah.
so
Well, I mean, perfect example. Like, my dad had his stroke about almost 20 years ago.
wow.
Uh, and he was completely done. They told me, yeah, we're just waiting for him to pass, I guess. It was a really bad stroke. He was completely paralyzed. And um, they came in and told me, hey, we have a surgery that we can do for him. To cut a long story short, uh, if it takes more than 30 minutes, he's gonna die anyway. Or we can just wait and let him die and see what happens, right? I was like, sure, let's do the surgery. Signed that paperwork. Did it. My dad's surgery took 28 minutes, right? And you see my dad's, he's
Yeah,
partially
he's alive, man.
handicapped. Yeah, but he does stuff, He'll go out, he'll party it up. Like, my dad doesn't drink like that, but if we have a family event and people are taking shots, he'll take a shot. He drinks once in a blue moon, and now that he has the grandkids here, he runs around. You see my Instagram. He like dances with them. He jumps
Yeah,
with them. He's living his best life. And on the flip side of that, my mom had the same stroke, passed away. Right. So it's a spectrum of things that you just have to live your life and hope for the best. You know, you could end up living your best life like my dad, or you can pass away of the same thing like my mom. You just never know. And it's like those 20, 30 years that you've worked at a place. my mom was really loved at Hollywood Park. That's one thing. Uh, that was good. Like she was really loved there. But there's people that they'd be like, "Oh, he's gone. We gotta hire someone new."
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh damn. All right. Send them flowers.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and
it.
that's the other thing about, that's like, I love people, but I also like, oh, what the fuck, That's what my fucking social media pages are for. Is like the greatness of people, but also if you fucking are at a street takeover without a car and somebody's busting fucking donuts and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm gonna set the fucking tire marks on fire, and then also get tail whipped by the fucking car that tail whips you into the fucking flames that you just set.
You deserve that.
That's just the fucking. It's the same thing. People are going to the moon, and there's that fucker. It's the same deal, right? But the the amazingness, like like I was working at a particular company. I think I could say it. It's FedEx. Enough time has passed, right? FedEx office in Marina Del Rey, and when my dad passed away, man, like people were, and it was crazy because I was traveling on the bus like 4 hours each way from like Northridge, the Valley, to Marina Del Rey, like,
Mhm.
and people were buying me like food, and they raised a fund and whatever, and I'd been with that company. I mean, that was like the third store that I'd been to because I would just get hired to do different jobs at different stores and whatever within the same
Mhm.
company. But yeah, like they showed out. But also when my mom passed away, the company that I was with, I think I was there maybe a couple months, and they also, you know did a fund and like whatever, and it all helped. And that not
Mhm.
just financial, but like, god, like, I didn't feel alone, man. And that's
Right.
the catch 22 about, like, being a freelancer, where, like, man, I used to hate going to those, company parties or whatever,
Mhm.
and but then also, like, if something happened to me, who the fuck is going to tell the story to my wife and kids?
Right.
Who's going to help
And
them
see,
out?
again, to have a great company like my company was like, "Shh, do what you need to do. Just keep us posted." That's how. There was no when are you coming back? When are you leaving? How long is it going to take? There was none of that. It's like, "Shh, let us know when you come back." And it's you having a great company like that, like keeps you there for those 20 years, 20,
Yeah.
30 years that people want to be at a certain company. But if you have a
Yeah.
company that's just like, well, there's a deadline, so you know, because I've had friends that have had to that literally told their employer before they got hired, there's a specific thing that I need to do in these months that I will need to take time off for, and they said, cool, no problem. Those months come. Well, do you really need to take all that time off? Like, dude, I told you before you hired me. Like, so now your true colors are you didn't care. I just
Mm,
need to hire this great person. That person's now great, and now it's like I don't care what you needed to do. I need you to be here. And it's like, nah. I
man,
wouldn't stay at a company that way, but some people do.
some people have to,
Yeah.
shit. I mean, that actually goes back to, my the first job I'd had. It was a car rental company. I'm
Hmm.
not gonna say the name because I can't. I don't know if whatever, but I think it's in on my LinkedIn or whatever. But there were people that were there for 30, 20, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, have houses, sent their kids to college, whatever. But they were literally doing the same fucking position that they did when they came into the company as a 16, 18, 22-year-old kid.
Hmm.
They're doing this. I mean, and the month, you know, we're talking like $2 raises a year in 1972 and like
Right.
whatever the fuck when shit was like south. And now you're making six figures, but doing the exact same fucking thing that you did at 18.
Why not?
I couldn't. I
Some
couldn't.
people, some people are okay with just doing their job and they don't want to move up. Because I've also been in companies where they've asked people, "Hey, someone's leaving. Would you like to take over the position as manager?" Nope.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah,
I
I've
just
been
want
that.
to do. I just want to do my job. This is what I want to do. I don't ask me for anything else. I don't. I'm not doing overtime. I'm not doing extra time. I'm not coming in early. I'm working 9 to 5 for what you need me to do, and that's it for the rest of our lives. And they're
Hmm.
okay with that. Some people
Yeah,
are just fine.
I've been that, but then I've also been the one to bite the apple. Oh fuck yeah, I'll take that managerial position. Oh fuck, like you didn't know. I just saw the zeros, the extra zeros, motherfucker. You
Exactly.
know, like that's it. Rocky Nelson said my brother passed away in August, and my company I work for said take your time.
Exactly. Our
My
condolences.
condolences. Yeah, absolutely. But that's cool as fuck, man. Like you,
And that's how
but
you know you work for a good company.
hell yes, man. So yeah, like companies, diseases, what is it? Spectrums. It's all a part of the the thing that is life of us humans,
Right.
right? That
Hmm.
is completely oblivious to our pets, and it's completely their circle of life is completely different. Like we're the
Hmm.
same thing, but we're kind of in the different fucking planes and how we experience it. But like for us as humans, the duality will always be there.
Right.
Sickness and health. That's in the vows if you get married, right? Like death do your part.
Hmm.
Like, when shit goes sideways. This is what it is, right?
Pick
And
your poison. Pick your weapon.
yeah, but I mean that is the condition of a human, right?
Hmm.
That we have all of it, life and death, birth. Where we are in the hospitals, where you've given birth. There's somebody probably dying at the same in the another
Exact
floor.
same time. Yep.
Yeah, families rejoicing at the birth, and then the family fucking grief stricken.
Downstairs.
Yeah, and it's just there's a nursery and there's a fucking morgue in the same
Yep.
building. It's
Definitely.
all there, and then every facet of people getting discharged with the clean bill of health, and somebody being told, "Hey, not gonna make it,"
Right.
or here's just another treatment of the dialysis or the cancer or the whatever
Hmm.
heart disease. You know
Yep.
and it's
Yep.
all there, so like I mean I think the exploration of such, I think humans will always have a curious kind of interpretation of such,
Hmm.
and then there are some people that just like don't give a fuck until it happens.
Right. So,
Such is
what can you
life.
do? Yeah.
What can you do?
It's a
But
flip
what
of a coin.
flip of a coin? But what people can do is follow you, right? And
Yep.
where
That's
can they
it.
follow you? I put it in the bio, but also, um, where can where can they do that?
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at CC underscore 272. So I'm on there.
And before we go, are you paying the $8 of the verified check mark?
I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
Are you?
Eh, no, because it's eight. Oh, I'm sorry. They, I'm like nobody wants to hear what I have to
No one
fucking say.
cares.
Um, no, but I
Is
mean,
that what it says when you go into Twitter? Let's see. What is Twitter? What does the
I don't.
Twitter machine tell me?
Uh, I call it the Twitter machine too. I got that from Bubba Ray Dudley. The Twitter machine. He says it with a New York accent.
Just because they're old.
Yeah,
Like
old as
I say, what in the halibut
oh,
instead of what
that's
in the hell?
okay, Doris. All right.
People are
Of
like, "How old are you? Like 50?"
you should see
Um,
Wendy's. My God, I don't know how I
it
still
doesn't.
walk on.
It looks like everyone has a check mark by now.
See, but that's the thing. So what's the point if everybody has it? I'm just gonna save the fucking the verified check mark is not a verified check mark anymore, and maybe to stay to make yourself stand out a little bit, you don't get the fucking check mark.
What's Twitter Blue?
That's the check mark, and you're not limited to what is it, the 150 characters that everyone else is. You can fucking put your whole life story
You
on it,
can just
and then you
blab.
and then yeah, you can do long form videos like a TikTok or Snapchat or whatever the fuck. But I mean, honest to goodness, like we're through StreamYard, we're streaming to Twitter right now. Don't let them know that, but we're on fucking Twitter now without paying the $8 a month.
Right.
So I don't fucking
Wait,
know.
it's $8 a month?
It's $8 a month.
I think it was
Now again, if
like
you're
one time.
no, and I get it if you're if you already have the verified check mark, right? If you're a Kardashian, if you're a sports somebody, if you're a politician, whatever the fuck, right? And you've got
Hmm.
hundreds of millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people that are subscribed to you, and if you put up a tweet of the thing that you're selling, the course that you're going on, the fucking Twitch stream that you have, the article of clothing or whatever the fuck, right? I guess it
Hmm.
makes sense. $8 is not bad for the reach that you have to get people to buy the stuff that you're fucking selling.
Right.
But if you're Joe Blow in Dubuque, Iowa,
Right.
I could see
I
why you
get
don't have the fucking. I like why are you even on Twitter? Like,
I get paid $8 the hour if I'm in Iowa.
yeah, I just
I make $200 a week. What do you
yeah,
mean I need $8 for
yeah,
verification?
I don't. None of this shit makes sense to me. But I'm also treating it like the every first generation of technology where the first whatever you pay $8
Hmm.
now, but then it's like $2, 6 months from now and whatever the fuck, or like like it's gotten out of hand. Like everybody paying $8 for their blue check marks that have them now. Well, isn't it just like the damn Bruce Almighty where like you fucking everybody wins the lotto, but you get like
Yep.
$1.50 for
A dollar
everyone.
fifty each person. Yep.
Yeah.
35
So
cents.
so
All
yeah.
right.
But otherwise, I'm also on the Twitter and the Instagram, the gram, the Twitter machine, the gram of instant gratification, the talk tick, and the chapsnat.
Oh, you
All of
one friend.
those, as well as the YouTube and the Twitch and the whatever, you can find that in the description below. Follow the link tree. I mean, literally, if you follow the Twitter link tree, will take you to the other shit. All the social medias have it, but I'm a Courtney Woods. I do shit. I guess I can say that there's no Eric Bischoff after 83 weeks this week. But also, speaking of shit to buy, Eric Bischoff's book, Grateful, is out. Um, Actually, it's the last day of pre order is Friday. And the pre order, if you get the soft cover book or the hardcover book, it comes with an autograph, a personalized autograph from the author as well as Eric Bischoff. So there's that. So you have
Did
until
you
Friday.
did you see
Yes.
that last comment?
Oh, the return of what is it?
The
Of
return
Tom
of
and
Tom
my
and MySpace.
stranger shit has happened, man.
That would be amazing.
Well, didn't Justin Timberlake buy MySpace?
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like he bought MySpace like a decade ago and did fuck all with it.
Yeah, he's like, fucking, I'm keeping this to myself. I am the new Tom.
Top five, fucking top five. Who's making it to your top five? Dude, Panic at the Disco got fucking signed off of MySpace. There's a lot of bands that got signed off of MySpace. So shout out to MySpace, man.
I love Panic at the Disco.
Fuck yes. But I'm Courtney
Hmm.
Woods. It's
I'm
Claudia
Cece.
Wade. Yeah, CC. That's it. And thank you guys for joining us.
We're out of here.
Don't get diseases and live long and
Yeah, live long and prosper.